and live peacefully will become the biggest attraction in the world. Already it's beginning to happen, but in the next 10-15 years that's going to be very, very huge, because the younger generation is looking for those kind of places because they are just overwhelmed with technology, they're constantly with their headphones on, they would like to be in a place like this, and this will become a destination in many ways. But I hear that in many ways compared to nations which have similar kind of wildlife as Assam has, well, we are nowhere in the picture in terms of international tourism and stuff. See, tourism is one of the easiest industries to develop and one of the most eco-friendly tourism industries to develop, because one thing about tourism is it engages a large number of people. Population will benefit without really ripping the land apart. I feel this should be one of the most important things. Of course, for this you need infrastructure and various things, but we don't have to think like other states. You don't have to develop like UP or Karnataka or Tamil Nadu, something like this. This must come up with a unique development plan, because there are ways to do things in this state and in this region. We must take this region, Assam being the largest of the… am I correct? It's the largest of the 7 states, can take the leadership, but developing this as a region of tourism, as a big draw in the world, can be easily done. Honorable Chief Minister is setting the target of 2026. Before 2026, a massive inflow of tourists can be done, these infrastructures can be set up. Government should not get involved in this, we must bring in private players who are competent to do these things, put proper policies so that exploitation doesn't happen beyond a certain point. These things can be done. If you feel I could help, I have contacts across the world who are wildlife consultants and people who have developed these things, particularly in South Africa and other regions. They've done a fantastic job without destroying their ecosystems, how they've made it into monetizing process and commercially and economically a great success in their countries. Most of their economies are driven by tourism. Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa, Zimbabwe, largely they're driven by tourism. You have that and more here, because there is a certain kind of population, certain kind of culture which is difficult to culture. Here it's very easy to do that. The thing is, everybody's life will improve with tourism. It's not only people who are involved in the business. Everybody's lives will improve because it engages a whole lot of people. From a simple auto rickshaw driver to everybody's life will be touched by this, and looking at the richness of this land, that should be the way forward. Infrastructure does not mean it should be all by road, everywhere you have to cut highways, not necessary, key things can be done. I think because I'm talking to the Nepali Tourism Ministry, and they have, 3 years ago, unofficially they made me kind of their tourism icon. So I've been talking to the Prime Minister and others. Helicopter tourism has taken off in a huge way in Nepal. This time I must tell you, we went on a Kailash Yatra, just as a part of supporting this thing. We helicopter lifted 1,300 people in 3 different places across the mountains. This is like a military operation for us. 1,300 people, making sure every one of them has darshan of Kailash and come back in a span of about 27, 28 days. It is a military level operation, and the government was surprised that we could actually make this happen. So I'm saying in a terrain like this, there is no need to cut highways and tunnels and bridges all over the place. A few key things have to be done, but rest of it can be a huge helicopter thing. And in certain countries, they've been looking at it. I've spoken to some of the consultants. There is something called as blimp transportation. You know those blimps? I know everybody knows what's a blimp. Okay, there's another name for that. What is that? It can airlift 1,000 people if you want. 1,000 people will move at 30 to 40 kilometers per hour, and it's fantastic. It's not like an airplane, you have to look at it from a small window. You can either keep it open or you can keep it all glass. People will enjoy the ride. It may take a certain amount of time because that is part of the tourism, and then they can be landed in any airport or even in a school football ground you can land it. So these are all things to explore, these are not new technologies, there is no risk, very low risk and very possible things. If you do this properly and the nature is there, if we just create certain things, if you give the private enterprise to come up with the needed infrastructure for people to stay and things like that, this 2026 goal could be easily achieved just with this one industry. Along with that, of course, you must always have education, training, other things. Education need to be transformed. We are still going on with the same education system that the British gave us. They're gone, but we are pursuing that education more rigidly than they are doing it in their own country. This is something that may be a shocker for most people. All the elite schools in Britain, like Eton and other schools which are top-class schools, which is the most prestigious schools, highbrow, aristocratic schools, are all teaching Sanskrit in their schools. Because research has shown that when children use Sanskrit language, the neurological development in the brain is so high. So they are teaching, but we are going by the same route education of 12 plus 3 and whatever nonsense. Very easily 16, 17-year-olds in 2 years' time you can make them very competent in the tourism arena. 2 years program, a diploma in tourism, that they know what the state is about, how to handle transportation, how to handle hotels, stuff. They will, one thing is they'll be employed, within no time they'll all become entrepreneurs very easily. So instead of me going into these things which you already may know, what I would like to say is, the most important thing for anything to succeed is to upgrade the human being. If we upgrade this human being, everything that we do will naturally get upgraded. Right now the problem in the world is just about everybody is complaining about stress. Whether they have a little job or a big job, they're stressed about it. See, stress is not a consequence of what you're doing or your life situations. Stress is just your inability to manage yourself. You don't know how to manage your thought and emotion, you're always stressed. If you have something to do, you will be stressed. If you have nothing to do, you will be super stressed. Yes or no? Hello? So stress is not because of your job. Stress is because you've never… Do you agree with me that this human mechanism that you have is the most complex and sophisticated technology on the planet? Hello? Do you agree with me? Yes. Have you read the user's manual? Huh? Have you read the user's manual? No. So if you don't read the user's manual for a very complex technology, you inevitably make a mess out of it. That's all that's happening to human beings. There is no focus on how to manage this. We want to manage everything in the universe. And everything that we touch, everything that human beings touch is becoming a mess, absolute mess, simply because we don't know how to manage this, we are trying to manage everything. This is very important, this is the USP of this culture. Bharat means just this. This is about inner longings and inner search and inner mastery over ourselves. This is what the nation is about. See, I want you to understand, all of you know probably the history of Assam and the neighboring regions. Many times, Bharat has been over 600 political entities. In spite of that, still people call this as one nation. Not only us, people from outside the world, you go and ask, talk to anybody where we have been treating for over 8,000, 10,000 years, they always refer to this as one nation. Though politically it was all different, still we were one nation. What is it that made us one nation? This is the only thing. This is the only culture which saw that the only way to enhance life is to invest upon ourselves. Not in terms of accumulations, because accumulations of body, mind, wealth, money will only enhance our social interaction. It will not enhance the life that we are. But there is a way to enhance this life. If we enhance this life, we will function at a certain level, greater sense of science, technology, astronomy, mathematics, everything happened here because people invested upon themselves, not upon just learning something, but upon themselves, enhancing their perception, enhancing their vision, enhancing their ability to do things, and above all, enhancing the experience of life itself. Because essentially, human beings are only looking for this. I want you to look at this carefully. I know this is a government meeting, sir, but it's human beings, I thought.
Yes, all are human.
Human beings only, yes. Sometimes they may not behave like that when they're behind a certain table, but all human beings only. So the human thing is just this. You want pleasantness of experience. Hello? Are we in talking terms or is there a problem? I'm asking you a question. You want your life to be pleasant or unpleasant? You must choose because, see, from now on I'll ask questions and whether you say yes, no or silence, I'm going to bless you. It's up to you. You want your life pleasant or unpleasant? Pleasant. Good. If our body becomes pleasant, we call this health. Want it? Please, you must say yes or no. Okay? Be very careful because today we may be perfectly well, tomorrow morning we could be dead. Hello? Yes. We don't wish to be, but we could be. Yes or no? Yes. So when I say, do you want help? Don't sit like this, this is very dangerous. You understand? It's very, very important. Every cell in your body hears that you want health. You want health? Yes. Good. If this body becomes very pleasant, then we say it's pleasure.
Yes.
If your mind becomes pleasant, we call this peace.
Yes.
If it becomes very pleasant, we call it joy.
Yes.
If your emotions become pleasant, we call this love. If it becomes very pleasant, there are very few takers for love, I'm saying. Oh, no love in your life? You want? Hello? You must say yes. If this becomes very, very pleasant, we call it compassion. If your very life energies become pleasant, we call this blissfulness. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it ecstasy. If your surroundings become pleasant, we call this success. Only to create pleasantness of your surroundings, you need the cooperation of people and forces around you. To create pleasantness of body, mind, emotion and energy is 100% your business. Hello? Yes or no? Is it 100% your business?
Yes.
Now, if you sit here and you're feeling very wonderful, very joyful and wonderful, somebody comes and says something stupid to you, like I am doing right now, you will be nasty or pleasant? Pleasant, because you are feeling wonderful. When you are feeling little frustrated, angry, miserable, you do nasty things. Hello?
Yes.
This is true with every human being, isn't it? Hello?
Yes.
This is the whole problem. This is the biggest problem that we have picked up in the last few hundred years, that is, we are trying to create good people. No, we need joyful and sensible human beings on this planet. Hello? People who think they are good, they are doing the most horrible things to everybody and still they think they're doing a good thing. Yes or no? So, once you have a certain position of power and responsibility, the most important thing is you're pleasant and you're sensible about it. Only then your position of power and responsibility can become impactful, because these are the three things that every human being knowingly or unknowingly longing for. You want a pleasant life, But after some time you get bored of pleasantness. You want something profound to happen to you. In search of profoundness, somebody goes to the temple, somebody goes to the bar, somebody goes and meditates in the mountains, somebody goes in the back streets and buys drugs and takes it. Please understand, all of them are looking for profoundness, yes or no? Same thing. Whether it's going to work or not is the only question. Every human being, in the beginning looking for pleasantness, if that is achieved in some way, something more needs to happen, isn't it? You can call it drink, you can call it God, you can call it meditation, you can call it drug, you can call it power, you can call it success, you can call it achievement, but essentially you're looking for little more profoundness of life. So once there is some sense of pleasantness and profoundness, when you act in the world, you want it to be impactful. The purpose of action is to create an impact, isn't it? A positive impact you want to create. When you fail to do positive impact, then you may succumb to negative impact. Somehow you want to impact. This will happen to human beings. I'm not saying you will do that, but it is happening. Why somebody becomes a criminal, why somebody becomes something else is, they also want to create an impact. They are not patient enough to craft positive impact. Quick impact means shoot somebody in the head, boom, tomorrow you're in the headlines. Hello? Quick impact. Consequences are there, but always you think you will somehow escape the consequence. That is not the point. The important thing is pleasantness. If there was pleasantness, your impactfulness would always be constructive. If there is a certain level of bitterness and unpleasantness, then the impact that you create can be negative. Every human being does something negative either because they're angry or frustrated or fearful or something unpleasant happening within themselves. And when something unpleasant happens within you, you want to share it with the world. Hello? Yes or no? When something positive happens also, you want to share with the world, but for most people, positive things or moments of joy, moments of wonderfulness is happening here and there in a day. In 24 hours, here and there and there. Rest of the time, we're going like this. I'm just reminding you, this is not my wish, but whatever age you are, even if you're just 18, some of you, I'm just pampering you, don't believe that, okay? I know. If she raised her hand, yes, I got you. You have a very brief life to live. It's very brief. Especially if you're joyful, it's very, very brief. Have you noticed on a particular day that you were very happy? 24 hours, poof, went off like a moment. Yes or no? Another day you're a little miserable, 24 hours feels like 1,000 years. Hello? Yes. Because time is a very relative experience. Only miserable people can have a long life. If you're a joyful person, poof, it gets over. Yesterday I was in Kashi and they were reminding me that it's 40 years since I started this work. Oh, it's 40 years? It looks like I started day before yesterday. It's already 40 years gone and I'll be dead one day, all right? So this Swamiji who's in charge of the Manikarnik Ghat, he's thinking, Sadhguru, you must come to Manikar. Why are you booking me tonight? Allow me some more time. No, not like that. You please come, you must come to the Manikarnik Ghat. All right, I said for all the people who are with me, 1,000 people, will you give them free booking? No time, no expiry date for the booking. Whenever they want to come, they can come. Will you give me free booking? Yes, sir, yes, Sadhguru, yes, Sadhguru. I said, okay, then we will come. Then we went to the Manikarnik Ghat. Why I'm saying this is, it's such a brief life. If you use your human potential, it's a very brief life. If you just go with your psychological stuff, it feels like an extremely long life. So, when there is such a brief life, there is no time to go on walking in misery. Hello? It's like this. Why this misery? There are so many reasons, because all of you are ministers, bureaucrats and Honorable Chief Minister. See, the problem is this, in this cosmos, nobody knows where it begins, where it ends. Hello? Neither the religion knows nor the science knows. Yes or no? Both don't know where does it begin, where does it end, it's that big. Or big is not the word, it's simply limitless. In this limitless cosmos, seemingly limitless cosmos, the solar system is a tiny speck, the entire solar system. In this speck of a solar system, planet Earth is a microspeck. In this microspeck, a sun is a super microspeck. In that, here we are. It is a super microspeck. In that you are a big man. This is a terrible problem. This is a massive problem, not a simple problem. Every man is acting like a rhinoceros. It's all right, rhinoceros behaves like that, he thinks he's very big. All right? It's okay for him, he's got more horn than head, all right? With him it's all right, not okay for a human being, hello? It's all right for a rhinoceros because all he's got is his horn, he has to do something about it. But we got a head, and we got a head which can do things that no other creature can do, yes or no? And with this head, if we behave like a rhinoceros, one thing is our head may crack very easily. Another thing is we will cause misery to ourselves and everybody else around us, unfortunately. It's a very brief life. So all of you must promise me one thing. Tomorrow morning, if you wake up, hello? This is not my wish. This is not my wish because every day, nearly 200,000 people don't wake up tomorrow morning. Natural death. So if you do wake up, one thing is, pinch yourself and see if you're still alive. One big smile. Can you do this for me? Hello? Only if you're alive, otherwise I'll pardon you. If you're not alive, you're excused. But if you're alive, one big smile. No, but my office, this is happening, my ministry, that's happening, nonsense happening, all that happening, yes. I'm not saying everything is going perfect for anybody. If you've taken up big responsibilities, most of the damn things are not going right, all right? Only if you're just doing one petty shop, if you're running a beedi shop, 90% is going your way. If you're running a damn state, 90% is against you all the time. Only 10% is happening your way. This is the nature of the world, hello? So if you're not ready to function in this world, you want some ideal world, people come to me, we are running a large volunteer organization. Over 5,600 full-time volunteers, over 17 million part-time volunteers. See, I'm not lucky like your chief minister, he's put probably qualified people in the jobs, all the bureaucrats, every one of them qualified for what they're doing. I don't have such a privilege, whoever comes, I have to put them into it because all are volunteers, I don't pay them, only something. So volunteers means they're full of enthusiasm, but they don't know what the hell they're doing. You have to manage it all the time, 24 hours, manage it. But in spite of that, our events run in such a way, with absolute precision, in these 40 years, on a daily basis, on an average about 250 to 270 events are going on in the world. Not a single event has been abandoned in the last 40 years. So don't clap because this takes crazy amount of management. And volunteers always, they're volunteers, you can't fire them for inefficiency because they're volunteers. How can you fire them? If you had hired them, you could have fired them. Now this is a whole thing, if anybody has to go to the mental hospital, first it's me. But I will not go because I will not go, I will not die of stress, I may die of exhaustion, possible. very much possible. I could die of exhaustion, but I'll not die of stress. That's not going to happen, because there is a certain way to be within the human being which is beyond the situations in which we exist. If we don't get this, we get crippled by our own minds. Right now, we call this tension, stress, anxiety, this, that, so many names. There are 72 varieties of psychological ailments. But there is only one problem. Your intelligence has turned against you. That's all that's happened to you, isn't it? Hello? If your intelligence was working for you, would you create joy for yourself or misery for yourself? Obviously, it can cause situations. They can make situations in a way that you don't like. But who causes misery? Hello? Don't say that, just say me, huh? Because that is sounding very spiritual and somewhere, because this is an Indian problem, because there was a time when this country was spiritually alive, okay? Almost 100% of the population in some way engaged in some spiritual practice. But today we don't have that, we only have the jargon left. For everything, everybody will say karma, prarabdha, mukti, moksha, atma, paramatman, every word they know all the jargon, but no spiritual process. So don't use the spiritual words, self, super self and all that stuff. Me is good enough. I'm the one who's causing misery. If you know you're the one causing misery, will you continue that way? You always think, he is causing misery, I'm miserable because of him. No, 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 you are not miserable because of anybody. Other people can create outside situations in a way that you don't like, but inner situation is 100% yours. So volunteer organization, every day somebody coming up and telling me, Sadhguru, I can't work with this man, he's so horrible, he's like this, he's like that. I tell them, see, in this world, only such horrible people are there. If you think what you're doing is very significant, you have to work with all these horrible people. But if you want to work with ideal people, go to heaven and today. Hello? Yes or no? Hello? Only these kind of people are there in the world. If you see what you're doing is very significant, with all of them you have to work. But if you want to work with ideal people, you must go to heaven. You must go and marry Rambe or Urvashi and live there, okay, whoever that is. I want you to understand, even the so-called divine entities, when they were here, people around them had problems, hello? With them also. When Krishna was here, his wives had serious issues with him. Hello? Because no matter how you are, is there anybody who's absolutely perfect here? No matter how you are, you're not perfect is a good thing, that means there is room for improvement. This is the nature of this culture. This is not a culture of absolutism. Oh, you have come from God, so you are perfect. There is no such thing. Even if the so-called divine entity comes down, all that Indians gave was debate, ask questions. Nobody could give us a commandment, hello? Questions and questions and questions. Shiva opens his mouth, Adiyogi opens his mouth to speak. His wife freaks him with 1,000 questions, hello? Krishna, after all those things, he's trying to talk to one guy, that too on a battlefield. How many damn questions he's asking? Yes or no? He can't say, this is it, I'm telling you, this is absolute, no such thing in this country. Because this is a culture of evolution. We don't see that there is some God up there and everything will happen that way. We see that if you're willing, you can evolve yourself into a divine possibility. For us, divine is not a descended, entity. Divine is an evolution of a human being, an individual human being can grow into divine nature simply because he's done the right things within himself or herself. Otherwise, no, it doesn't descend from the top. Those that descend from the top have always been a great mess. Hello? Huge problems, isn't it? So, leaving that aside, there are many things that one human being can do within themselves. All of you, whether you have time, the Chief Minister is giving you only 3 days to do Chintan Shivar, you can't sit down and withdraw for 3 years and look at what's happening. That's not going to be allowed, all right? Only 3 days. So in 3 days, what we can do with ourselves? Well, in 3 days we can do fantastic things with ourselves. It is not just about, it's not just about looking how to improve the administration. The most important thing is how to improve myself. If I am a better human being, I am a more capable human being, whatever I do naturally happens that way, I don't have to struggle. This is the whole problem with the world. They're always trying to upgrade their activity without upgrading themselves. Now, they're always stressed to the limit because if you upgrade the activity without upgrading yourself, you will be stressed, isn't it? It's very important that human beings take time to upgrade themselves. If at some point, not in these 3 days, at some point, if you want, we can offer a few things, or even in these 3 days, we could do something. We have trained people who could offer you a simple process with both physically, mentally, above all energetically, you could be at a higher pace. Like when I started this 30,000 kilometer ride, I must tell you this. When I was very young, I rode motorcycles across India. But last 30 years, I have not sat on a motorcycle. I have not even thought about a motorcycle. I have been so busy, such a thing never came my way. So suddenly we decided we'll do it on a motorcycle, because last 30 years I've been talking about soil. I have spoken to agricultural ministries, I have spoken to bureaucrats, I have spoken to various leaders in the world, many heads of state, common people. Whenever I speak, people say, Sadhguru, this is fantastic, this is very important, what you're bringing to focus is very important, and that day they will use that as a pillow to sleep upon it. Everybody sleeps upon it. So I thought before it's too late, I must do something to wake everybody up, because millions of people are there who claim they are in love with me, but all of them sleeping. So if I walk 30,000 kilometers, it's a suicide, all right? At this stage in my life, if I walk, it's definitely a suicide. If I cycle, that also would be a suicide. So next is the motorcycle. You could kill yourself. There are many dangerous moments in… See, you're not just riding, you're doing an average of 7 events per day. Riding 30,000 kilometers and doing over 691 events is madness at this stage of life. So I said I have to play a little yo-yo with my life, that people think I'm going to die, and I may. And suddenly these millions of people woke up and boom, across the world, it's still going on, it won't stop. It won't stop till the policies are made. Because millions of people woke up, it touched over 3.91 billion people. It's never happened before like this. But if I did not risk my life, they'll say, okay, soil, Sadhguru, soil. This is a problem. We think sleep is a virtue. Sleep is not a crime, I'm not against it. Is sleep a crime? No. But if you sleep through your life is a disaster. Hello? If you sleep through your life is a disaster, isn't it? Because life is about being alive. Life is about being exuberant. Life is about being pleasant to yourself and to everybody around you. Life is about being impactful with what we do. And above all, life is about ensuring every other life is well too. Right now, say I'm asking you, how many of you have